What's going on, everybody, and welcome to CS5 Unmasked. Today I'm going to be making the Jason costume from Jason X, and I'm going to be doing it for around $25. Now I am fully aware that $25 really isn't a whole lot of money to try to make a movie accurate costume with, but I'm going to try my very best. Needless to say, thrift stores and yard sales, along with AlliedExpress.com, were my best friend. So sit back and relax, and welcome to CS5's Cost Cut Costume Tutorials.
That's my Jason. That's my special boy.
Alright, let's go ahead and see what we're going to need for this costume. We're going to need a mask and a hood, a gray work shirt, gray work pants, a brown jacket, black gloves, chains or restraints for the neck and wrists, and a pair of work boots. Now footwear will be optional, just wear whatever you feel that is comfortable. Alright, we're going to go ahead and start off with the mask. Now the mask is actually the biggest purchase I had to make for this entire costume. I got this mask from JDF Studios back in June of 2020, and I paid $15 for it. The masks now at JDF Studios are a bit more than that, but you can still go online and find blanks that are still reasonably priced. You just gotta know where to look. So the tools today I'm going to be using for the mask is going to be a drill with a bit, and a Dremel with a grinding wheel. Now if you yourself do not have these tools available to you, just do what I did, and ask my father if I can use his. Now with the drill, we're going to go ahead and drill out each one of the vent holes, along with putting a hole in each one of the eyes. Don't forget about the 3 strap holes that you need to put in as well. Now with the Dremel with the grinding wheel, I'm going to go ahead and clean up the edges to give it more defined detail, along with clearing out the eye sockets for the mask. Now take your time on this and go slow. If you go too quickly, you're going to remove more of the mask than you actually want. Now we're going to go ahead and sand the mask and prepare it for paint. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and apply the base coat of paint. Now I'm just going to be using some khaki acrylic paint. I'm going to apply it to a damp rag and then rub it all over the mask. Now I'm going to do this about 3 or 4 times, allowing it to dry in between each coat. So this is actually looking pretty good. Now we're going to go ahead and make the chevron. Just using a regular pencil, I'm going to go and outline where the chevron's going to go. Now just using some red acrylic paint, I'm going to go ahead and paint on the chevron. Alright, now it's time to dirty up the mask. Now just using some yellow and black acrylic paint mixed with a little bit of water, I'm going to mix it together, apply it to a damp rag, and that's the color I'm going to use to really make this mask look super dingy and super old. Now I'm just going to rub this all over the entire mask, allowing it to set up for a couple of seconds, and using a dry rag, I'm just going to remove any excess. This is turning out pretty good, but I think I'm going to work with it just a little bit more until I reach the desired look. Now using a pencil, I'm going to go ahead and mark out all the scratches and any additional damage to the mask. Then just using a razor blade, I'm going to go and scratch out where I marked it with a pencil. Alright, now I'm just going to go ahead and use some diluted black paint and just place it in key locations around the mask, around certain vent holes, the eyes, and even around the perimeter of the mask. Alright, now we're going to move on to the shirt. Now the shirt that I'm going to be using today, I did pick up at a yard sale for 75 cents, and even though the shirt in the movie does not have chest pockets, this is the only one I could find that actually looks pretty close. Now I'm just going to use a pencil to mark out bullet holes on the chest and stomach. And I'm just going to use a regular nail that I'm going to poke through one side of the shirt to ensure that it comes out the other side, so I can put bullet holes on the back side as well. Now using a razor blade, I'm going to go ahead and open up these nail holes just a little bit bigger. Now I'm just going to use the edge of the razor blade and vigorously rub it across the cut. This is going to fray out the material and really make it look like a bullet hole. Now for the shotgun damage to the stomach, I just marked it out with a pencil, and just using a pair of scissors, I'm just going to cut it out. And then repeat the same process with the edge of the razor blade, fraying out the material. Now using red acrylic paint, I'm going to apply it to all of the bullet holes and the shotgun damage. Now with the pants, we're going to repeat the exact same process that we just did with the shirt. Now that the pants that I'm using, I actually picked up at a yard sale for $1. Alright, now moving on to the jacket. Now the jacket that I'm using I did pick up at a yard sale for about $1.25. And though it's not exactly what I wanted, it's going to work for this costume. I'm just going to lay it out, and I'm going to remove the inner lining of the jacket. Then I'm going to flip it over and start applying the damage. Now I've referenced tons of photos and I've watched the movie several times, just so that I had a good understanding of where all the damage needed to be applied. Now all of the material that I will cut off, I am going to save because I'm going to use it a little bit later. Now I just made some diluted red paint in a spray bottle, and I'm going to spray it all over the jacket. Now this will change the color just a little bit, so it looks a little more closely to the one in the movie. So that's looking pretty good so far. I'm now going to make some accent pieces to put onto the jacket, such as buckles, strapping, and some shredded frayed material, so it really looks like the jacket was just completely ripped apart. Now all of the extra scrap material that came from the jacket we're going to reuse right now. So again, I'm looking at tons of photos and trying to match everything up that I see. So right now I'm just making 2 of the arm loops for the jacket, which the chain actually goes through at the beginning of the movie. Now I'm just going to attach it to the jacket using these fasteners that I picked up online. Now I'm going to go ahead and make 2 buckles for the jacket. I'm just going to use some metal clothes hangers that I had sitting in the closet, and these will work perfectly for what I want to do. I'm going to go ahead and strip all the rubberized coating off the clothes hangers just so that the metal is exposed. So I drew a small pattern on the table, just so that I kind of had a general idea of how big I wanted to make the buckle, and just using a set of pliers, I'm going to go ahead and bend it to shape. Now we're going to go ahead and make 3 prongs. Now this is pretty simplistic, 3 pieces of wire, curled or bent on one end, and then crimped in place. Now using some scrap pieces of the jacket and some glue, just go ahead and attach it to the buckle with the prongs. Once you're satisfied, repeat this process one more time for the other side of the jacket. Now using the fasteners, go ahead and secure it to the jacket. One on the right side, up near the chest, and one on the left side, right near the bottom of the rib cage. Now as far as the chains and restraints, I was able to pick these up online for just about $1. Now go ahead and get them separated, removing several links of chain that we're going to use later. There's 3 links on the collar and 3 links on each one of the restraints for the wrists. Now at this point you have a choice either to paint them or not to. Now again, this is going to be totally optional. I just so happen to have some extra black spray paint laying around, so I decided I'm just going to go ahead and spray paint them black. Again, you do not have to do this by any means. Okay, so now that the paint is dry, I'm going to go ahead and finish up the collar. I'm going to grab one of the extra links we had laying around, and I'm going to cut it in half. This is going to give me 2 little U's. Now using hot glue that I picked up online, I'm going to go ahead and apply it to each side of the collar. Now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should have glued it to the collar first before spray painting it. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and make the busted chain links on each side of the shoulder. Now this is actually relatively simple. I'm going to use 3 of the extra links and a couple pieces of cardboard. I'm going to go and take one of the links and cut it in half, and then the other 2 links I'm going to go ahead and destroy and twist a little bit so it looks like the actual chain was pulled completely apart. Just using a little bit of hot glue, I'm going to go ahead and stick it to the cardboard. Now using some gray acrylic paint, I'm going to go ahead and paint the cardboard. Okay, this is looking pretty good. I'm now going to use those fasteners again and attach it to each one of the shoulders on the jacket. So after looking at the fasteners, they do look a little funny, so I'm going to go ahead and paint them gray, just so that they don't stand out too much. Okay, so now that the blood is all dried on the shirt and the pants, we're now going to go ahead and dirty it up. I'm just going to be using some black acrylic paint, dilute it in a spray bottle, and I'm just going to heavily soak the shirt and the pants. I'm going to allow it to dry and repeat this as many times as necessary until I reach the look that I'm going for. Now we're going to go ahead and finish out the mask. I'm going to be using some brown elastic strap that I picked up online for relatively cheap. And for the ring that we're going to use for this strap, I'm going to be using from this. Now I'm not really sure what this is, but I did pick it up at a yard sale for 25 cents. Using a pair of pliers, I'm just going to go and remove it, and then using some hot glue, I'm going to attach the strap to the ring. Now again, using the fasteners, I'm going to attach the strap to the mask. Okay, now moving on to the hood. Being as money was running a little bit tight, I decided to just end up using a wig cap instead. I was able to pick these ones up for around 20 cents from AliExpress.com. And as far as the hair I'm going to be using, this is just some old doll hair that I got from one of my niece's dolls that she doesn't play with anymore. And so all I'm going to do is use some hot glue and just attach it to the wig cap. Now I know this isn't exactly the right color, but for a cheap Jason costume, it'll work out just fine. As far as gloves are concerned, these are just some cheap gloves that I picked up online that I basically just cut the fingertips off. Now, like I said at the beginning of the video, footwear is going to be optional. I just so happen to have these pair of raggedy old boots laying around the house, and I've had these for quite some time. And as you can plainly see, they've seen better days. So these will actually work out relatively well for this costume. Alright, let's go ahead and add everything up and see how much it really cost. And as you can plainly see, it's just right around $25. Okay, let's put everything together and see what it looks like. Alright, I hope you guys really liked the costume. It took me a really long time to make, and I think it turned out pretty good. So if you guys have any suggestions for costumes you'd want me to make in the future, let me know down below. Alright everybody, until next time, this is CS5 signing out, and I hope to see you in the next video.